Welcome back, everybody. So my next movie review for you is The Shining. But once again, if you enjoy watching my movie reviews, if you could please like, share and subscribe to my channel, that would be very, very much appreciated. So The Shining was released on May 23rd, 1980. Its director was Stanley Kubrick. It was made on a budget of 19 million US dollars and made 46.2 million US dollars in the box office. The cast. This movie consists of Jack Nicholson, Danny Lloyd, Shelley Duvall, Scatman Clothers, plus a few others. So in this Shining movie, we follow Jack Torrance and his family as he takes on a job to look after a hotel for 5 months during the winter period. This hotel has quite a violent, nasty history behind it, and it isn't long before Jack starts to slowly lose his insanity, which does have quite a prolific effect on him and his family. Now, what do I honestly think about this movie? I've got to be honest with you, this is only the second time I've watched this movie. I watched this years and years ago when I was a lot younger, probably about 20 years ago, and I finally watched it for the second time this morning because I want to watch and review the sequel, Doctor Sleep, very, very soon. So if you really, really want to know what I think about this movie, just stay tuned because the movie review is coming up right about now. Here we go, The Shining movie review. Now, what do I honestly think about this movie? I think you know what's coming. I absolutely love this the second time round. Like I said at the beginning of this video, it was 20 years ago since the last time I watched this movie, and my thoughts of it back then is like going, okay, yeah, that was good. Yeah, I probably won't watch that again. And that's exactly what my thoughts were. Now, I'm not saying I disliked the movie. I actually enjoyed the movie, but it's not one at that time I wanted to go back to. Now, 20 years on, I'm now 37. I've watched this movie again now for the second time, and I've got a brand new, different opinion and different appreciation for this movie, to the point where I think it's absolutely fantastic and it's fantastically made. It comes from one of the best movie directors in movie history, Stanley Kubrick, and then you just see the work that's done in this movie, and I absolutely love it. The cinematography, just from the opening scene of this movie, is brilliant. It's one of the most standout parts of this movie, is that opening few minutes. The camera work in there and some of the shots that they show you, I think it's absolutely amazing in every single way. I just loved what they did. And throughout the whole of this movie, there is some very, very good camera work and good camera trickery in here, which just really adds to this movie a lot. It really adds to the suspenseful feel which you do gather throughout the whole of this movie. It is building up to something pretty catastrophic, and it's the first hour of this movie, or the first hour and a half of this movie, is just like, imagine winding up a toy to the point where you can't wind it up anymore and it just explodes or just goes crazy. And this is exactly what I get from this, because you spend most of this movie waiting for this ever-growing tension to basically explode, and it does, and they do this very, very well. And in performances-wise, as in Jack Nicholson, now I do generally like Jack Nicholson as an actor. It's not my favourite, but I do generally enjoy his performances in some of his movies. But in this one, he's absolutely brilliant in every single way. He was made for this role. He's got a face for this role as well. And to see him gradually over the course of this movie go down that slightly slippery slope into insanity, to the point where he actually wants to murder his family. And yes, that is a spoiler, but it's just, I think what he did is just absolutely brilliant, and it was an absolute pleasure to watch him on screen as well. I loved his performance throughout the whole of this. There were some more lighter-hearted moments from him, but yet you still know that there is that screw is starting to come loose very, very quickly. And in this movie, it does not take long for that to actually start to appear as well. They don't waste any time to show that this is very, very quick kind of digression, kind of into insanity as well, knowing that there is a supernatural force actually in this building as well, and it's using him and his family to its will. I think they really did this really, really well. The other greatest part of this movie as well, which I really, really do enjoy, is the fact they never actually explain it as well. You're left at the end of this movie with so many questions, and I generally really enjoy that, because they don't go into depth really about explaining this or showing you what actually happened throughout the whole of this movie. It is down to you. There's so many. I know that there are different theories about this movie and the outcome and what was actually going on in there. And I was actually got to the end of this movie, and my brain was still thinking. My brain is still thinking now. I'm trying to come up with my theory about what actually happened in this hotel, why he lost it. Was he actually there, or there's so many different things or different directions you can look at this movie, which just makes it absolutely fantastic. Other performances in this movie, Shelley Duvall's character Wendy Torrance in here, I think is absolutely brilliant as well. You really, really do feel for her at certain points of this movie, and I think she does an absolutely superb job. I admit, she spends most of this movie in tears. But what she does here is you do get that very, very strong emotional attachment to her. You generally feel sorry for her. And she's doing this through her performance, and I absolutely love it. I really, really do, because she nails it in every single way, because you do get behind her character very, very quickly, and you know that she's potentially a victim in here, or could be to a very brutal way of death. I have to be honest with you, because I'm trying not to give too much away, but I think what she did here in herself was absolutely fantastic. Even Danny Lloyd's character as a child, you don't see a huge amount of him towards the end of the movie, but every time you do see him, there is some very, very creepy moments with him. Extremely creepy moments, which are giving me the goosebumps right now, to be fair. And yeah, there is a scene in the bedroom where his mum is sleeping, and it terrifies me even the second time I watched it. And I gotta be honest with you, the first time I watched it, it did actually kind of terrify me. And even now, it actually terrified me as well. It's really, really good, and I loved what they did. They really get you onto the edge of your seat. It has a very, very creepy vibe with some very, very creepy music as well, with some absolutely fantastic performances. So if I was to rate this, I would give this a extremely strong 10 out of 10. It is probably, again, one of those horror movies which would be up there in my top 10. But remember that I'm not a huge horror fan, and I'm just getting into this genre, so I'm sure there might be some more horror movies that come along which might be in competition for that top 10 spot potentially. But as a whole, it's going to get a 10 out of 10 for me, strictly because I see this movie very, very differently 20 years on from the first time I watched it. And I just enjoyed the experience a lot more the second time I watched it. It's as simple as that. So on that note, please tell me what you think. Put it in the comments down below as normal. Hope you all have a great rest of the day, whatever you're doing. Please take care, and goodbye.